Welcome back, history buffs. I'm Hari.
And I'm Kimi. Today we're talking about a company that literally helped light up the world, but also completely transformed the American toy industry. We're diving into the history of Carlisle and Finch.
Yes. Based in Cincinnati, Ohio, Carlisle and Finch is legendary. But did you know they started as a humble branch office of General Electric? In the early 1990s, two electrical engineers, Robert Starrett Finch and Morton Carlisle, bought the shop from GE for $2,500. That's about $60,000 today.
Talk about a smart investment. Originally, they just repaired electrical machinery like armatures and arc lamps, but they quickly branched out. In 1897, they introduced two completely different products, a searchlight and a toy train. And that toy train changed everything.
It really did. While European companies had been making simple toy trains, and some U.S. makers used wind-up mechanisms or heavy batteries, Carlisle and Finch pioneered a massive innovation. They used the two metal tracks to conduct electrical power to the cars.
Right. Model railroad historian George Hoffer called this a striking innovation. Although the concept was demonstrated earlier, Carlisle and Finch was the first to actually manufacture and market electric toy trains in volume. They essentially invented the commercial electric toy train industry.
And here's a fascinating connection. Les Lines speculated in the New York Times that an early Carlisle and Finch train set might have actually inspired Joshua Lionel Cowan. Yes, the founder of the famous Lionel Corporation. So, we might owe the entire Lionel empire to Carlisle and Finch.
That's incredible. And if you happen to have one of their original toy trains in your attic, you might be rich. These trains are highly prized. In 2014, a Model 45 train set from around 1904 sold at auction for over $46,000.
Wow, that's some serious pocket change. But they didn't just stop at trains. In 1899, they also made other electric toys, like a battery-powered toy automobile and a copper torpedo boat. Their catalog even boldly predicted that electricity would undoubtedly be the universal method of propulsion for all vehicles in the near future. They were over a century ahead of the electric vehicle curve.
They really were. They even built a toy model of Cincinnati's Price Hill Inclined Plane Railway. It had two platforms driven by a small motor where one went up as the other came down. Only 120 were ever made, and sadly, none are believed to exist today. A true holy grail for toy collectors.
They also wrote a 58-page book in 1906 called Miniature Electric Railway Construction to teach wide-awake boys about electricity. It actually became a highly recommended book by libraries, including the New York Public Library.
But as World War I approached, toy sales fell, and the U.S. government pushed them to concentrate on lighting. Brent Finch later admitted the company just sort of drifted into the lighting business because competitors got too far ahead in marine engines during the war, so they stuck with what they knew best: high-power searchlights.
And they absolutely dominated that market. By 1914, they claimed that 90% of the vessels on U.S. and Canadian inland waterways were equipped with Carlisle and Finch searchlights. During World War I, they supplied searchlights to Greece, Spain, Norway, Russia, and of course, the U.S. military.
What made their searchlights so special was how they handled the carbon arc. Carbon arcs are great because they create a concentrated point of light, but the carbon rods get consumed. While records do not confirm they officially patented the mechanism, Carlisle and Finch reportedly pioneered a horizontal electrode system on the beam axis, using motor-driven lead screws to automatically adjust the carbons.
The Navy loved it. A 1918 training manual noted their signal light mechanism was excellent, operated smoothly, and was seldom in need of repair. That's high praise from the military.
Absolutely. They also scaled up this technology for navigation beacons. In 1929, they installed a massive 24-inch beacon on top of the Union Central Life Insurance Building in Cincinnati to guide planes at Lunken Airport. It was 5 million candle power and visible 50 miles away.
In 1961, they went even bigger, creating the most powerful lighthouse beacon on the U.S. coast for the Buzzards Bay entrance light. It produced a staggering 100 million candle power beam and required 50,000 volts just to start up.
That is an insane amount of power. Eventually, the Coast Guard used Carlisle and Finch's rotating beacons to replace traditional Fresnel lenses in many lighthouses because they were much easier to maintain.
We also have to mention some of their bizarre side projects. Did you know they manufactured marine gasoline engines under the Clifton Motor Works brand? One of their engines actually powered a canal boat called the Monitor in 1903, built for a competition on the Erie Canal.
And in 1923, they introduced a 400-pound electric clothes dryer. It used a wire mesh drum rotated by a motor with gas-heated air. Imagine having a 400-pound appliance in your laundry room today.
I think my floorboards would collapse. Through all of this, the company has stayed remarkably resilient. They survived a strike in 1901, a devastating fire in 1950 that burned down their old headquarters along with their historic toy archives, and a rough recession in the 1980s.
And yet, they are still active today in Cincinnati. It's still private and family-owned, currently run by the fourth generation of the Finch family. Today, they make highly advanced equipment, including searchlights for nuclear submarines that can withstand 2,000 psi of water pressure, and infrared searchlights for stealth operations.
What an incredible journey. From pioneering toy trains to lighting the way for nuclear submarines. Truly a masterclass in adaptation.
It really is. Well, that is our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. We hope you enjoyed this look into Carlisle and Finch. Until next time, stay curious.
Goodbye, everyone. This episode is based on the Wikipedia article Carlisle and Finch, which is available under the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike license. This podcast was crafted using artificial intelligence.